In this video, we'll go over some of the best crops to grow in dry conditions, or like if you're having a drought or if you live in the desert. So let's get started. So the first crop that we've noticed that grows quite well in dry conditions is corn. Corn grows really well in dry conditions, what we've noticed at least, because sometimes here in the summer in New Zealand we can get dry periods, dry spells for up to about 2 weeks with little to no rainfall. And even when it does rain, it doesn't rain much, and the water or the rain doesn't penetrate much into the soil. Because as you can see here, these corn plants look very nice and healthy, and we haven't even watered them that much. Well, we try to water our plants as much as possible, but sometimes when you have a little bit of a bigger garden, especially at our community garden, it's difficult to keep up with the watering, especially with very hot summer days and quite high temperatures. The next crop that can grow fairly easily in dry conditions is peppers, chilies, or capsicums, however you want to call them. All those types of plants, they tend to grow really well in dry conditions. At least that's what we've noticed. So those ones are a good option for if you have a dry climate or your soil just becomes very dry. Because as you can see here, these capsicum plants, they're loaded with capsicums, and we haven't even watered them that much, but they're still loaded with fruit, and we'll continue to enjoy those fruit throughout the summer and into the autumn. The next crop that can grow fairly easily in dry conditions, or if you're having a drought, is pumpkins. What we've noticed, we've grown pumpkins, as you can see here, these ones in an area, in a bed. We planted about 3 of them in a mound, and we just covered them with some carpet to prevent the weeds. And what we did is just planted them in some compost and then let them to grow. And we didn't even bother with watering that much. And as you can see, there are so many pumpkins here. There's probably about 20 of them from just 3 or 4 plants. This here is a zucchini Another plant that tends to grow fairly well in dry soil conditions is zucchinis, or also known as courgettes. These are basically the same as pumpkins, or they're also called summer squash. They tend to grow fairly well in dry soils because, as you can see here, these plants, they haven't been watered as much, because these ones here, all of these plants that you see here, well, at least most of them, are from our community garden, and we only go there maybe once or twice a week. And as it's quite big, it's quite difficult to keep up with the watering. And even if we do water, the water doesn't penetrate fully into the soil because the sun and everything dries it out so much, so that the water doesn't even have a chance to penetrate fully through, and the plants won't be able to absorb it fully. The next crop that can grow fairly easily in dry soil conditions, at least that's what we've noticed, is potatoes. These potatoes all here were grown in dry soil conditions, and as you can see, we've had quite a decent harvest with it. I was pretty pleased with it. We had decent sized potatoes. These potatoes were ready in about 3 months from planting. What we did was we just chitted the potatoes and then planted them in trenches, and then as the potatoes grew throughout the season, we mounded soil on the potato plants just to make sure that the tubers weren't getting exposed to the sunlight and therefore turning them green. Another bonus plant that actually grows really well in dry soil conditions is sunflowers. I thought to include it as well in this video because I grow a lot of sunflowers. It's great for attracting a lot of bees. I like these types of sunflowers, the ones with multiple heads, because they last for a very long time, and a bonus is the seeds are also edible.